All right, good morning, Nowata County. Welcome back to our podcast. And so this is our third podcast in like 2 days, and we're doing pretty awesome.
We were on a dry spell, and we're making up for lost time.
We were. So I'm pretty proud of us. And so we have a special guest with us today.
Back by popular demand.
Absolutely. So this is Leah Beechino, and she has been a friend of ours for, when did
2019.
Yeah,
we first
so
met at the beginning of 2019.
Holy smokes. So yeah, it's been a while. And we met down in Dallas.
Yep.
And at a CADCA training, actually. So Leah is the member of a coalition just like ours, but she's in Omak, Washington State.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So if you all, I'm sure you saw like the Facebook posts and everything from the school or from the city or from our Know What I Can page. We had our every 15-minute mock crash yesterday at Nowata High School. And, just to bring awareness to impaired driving. And so the way Leah fits into this is Leah is a survivor of a drunk driving accident. And she comes and she shares her story. And this is the second time she's been here to share her story. Our students actually requested that we bring her back. So it's always a good time, and Leah is a great presenter, and she's very real, and the kids totally relate. So Leah, if you just kind of want to give us see, I feel horrible about that. Just like a synopsis of what happened. Yeah, a synopsis. Well, I know that sounds so crazy. But I don't like to say shortening it because it just doesn't, there's just no justification for it. And like I said earlier, you're still living your story. So it's really hard to shorten anything. But if you could just tell us, give us a brief what happened, why you're here today, what you do, all
Absolutely.
that stuff.
Yeah. I spoke for an hour yesterday. Sure, I'll do this in 10 minutes.
Here
we go.
No joke.
I did not 25 years ago think that my life would be spent in prevention. Mm-hmm. That was not anywhere in the top 100 choices. I don't even know if that was an option for a career path.
Yeah.
But I was a senior in college studying psychology, actually, and my fiance and I lived just north of Seattle in Bellingham, Washington, and I grew up in Omak, which is north central Washington State, but across the mountain passes, so about 6 hours from Bellingham, and we were traveling home for Thanksgiving holiday. Because of work schedules and school schedules, we weren't able to leave until later at night, about 8 o'clock at night. So a 6-hour journey late at night means you're on the road at the hours when it's probably not safe to drive, especially on a holiday weekend. So we made it until we were about 2 hours from home, and then we were hit by a drunk driver. And my fiance was killed in the crash. And there were 3 men in the car that hit us, and 2 of them were killed. The driver and the front seat passenger were killed instantly in the crash. These men had been drinking for about 13 hours. They'd been in and out of the bar since noon. On Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, they hit us about 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's an excessive amount of drinking for even a seasoned alcoholic. I mean, I understand that. Jason, my fiance, was driving that night because he was more comfortable driving in winter conditions than I was. There wasn't a big debate about who was going to get behind the wheel. In the instant that those 2 vehicles collided, managed to break every bone in my body in some way except for my left leg. And I say that and it sounds like an exaggeration, and I understand that because who says, hi, my name is Leah, I broke every bone in my body. Sure you did. Okay. Right.
Right.
And I'm the Queen of England. So, but every finger and toe and rib and every tooth was knocked loose, and wrists and ankles, and every bone had some damage done to it.
You showed us in that presentation to the school yesterday, you showed us that little, what was that from, the Highway Patrol, or was that from
from the Washington State Patrol. There's an actual excerpt, from the officer where he spoke to the nurse and actually wrote it in the report, where the nurse relayed, my status the day after I was admitted to the hospital, the day after the crash, you know, every bone broken. So yeah, it was a big deal.
Right,
This
right.
wasn't a little fender bender.
Right.
The third man in the car that hit us survived, spent 2 months in the hospital. So he had severe injuries as well. Within 6 months, had made a full recovery and was back to his life. I ended up spending a month in a coma in a hospital in Seattle, 4 months total in the hospital before my mom brought me back to OMAC. And my mom had raised me as a single mom, so we were very, very close, which was great. She remodeled her house so she could take care of me, hospital bed and a wheelchair ramp, and 2 years in a wheelchair and 2 years on a walker, and constant surgeries. So I've had, my crash was just after 9/11. It was Thanksgiving Day of 2001.
Okay.
So it's been 21 years, and I've had over 150 surgical procedures, but just over 70 of them have been major surgeries, which have required extended hospital stays. And it's an ongoing process. It's the biggest of my injuries because that, you know, what I've explained already is not big enough.
Right.
Was that my lower spine and pelvis were completely crushed and shattered. So all of that area of my body, my lower spine and pelvis, has been rebuilt with titanium and extra bone that they've taken from other parts of my body, so that I'm able to walk again.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, and I'm thankful for that every day.
Yes.
But your pelvis being the center of your body, it limits, you know, your standing and sitting and walking and running and jumping, and everything you do comes from your pelvis. So the bottom line is that everything I do causes excruciating pain. So everything I do is limited by the pain that I experience and what I'm able to do and how long I'm able to do it. So my daily life for the rest of my life will be determined because of this crash. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I come here. That's why I was at that training and I met you guys, and I travel and am able to come here and speak to these students. Because let's face it, Trista, we know these kids are going to drink. Not all of them.
No.
I mean,
No, not all of them.
a lot of kids are good kids that are not out getting wasted in the woods on the weekend. I mean, thank God.
Right.
But some of them are.
Yep.
And we can tell them not to, and we can tell them, you know, that their brains aren't fully developed until they're in their mid-20s, and we can tell them it's illegal, and they know that. They are high school students that are starting to drive and starting to drink and starting to experiment, and we cannot, as mature, respectable adults, honestly sit here and say that every child is going to behave when it comes to drugs and alcohol until they're 21 because it's illegal.
Right.
We can't do that.
No.
Now, I, through all of this, have been blessed enough to have a child of my own, and she'll be a freshman next year, and she's a good kid. But I am not so naive to think that she doesn't have it in her to do something really, really naughty.
And no parent should be that naive.
Exactly.
And it was really interesting yesterday in your presentation at Nowata. You know, like, you know, the kids know that we know because we were that age once.
Exactly.
But it was interesting. You didn't call them out necessarily, but you definitely made them squirm a little bit. And we're not saying every kid did that, but you asked the question. Not asking for answers. You asked the question, so how many of you got wasted after prom last weekend? And you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And
I held it for a beat. And
right,
then I said, just kidding, you don't have to answer.
But
and they
that's being real.
Squirmed a little bit.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, are we supposed to raise our
That is
hands?
being real with them. That's not just, you know, someone like me who I have not experienced what you've experienced. Coming from me talking about not drinking and driving, okay, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it, Trista. But we want to bring you to our kids so they can get that real life experience from you. So your perspective is valued. But so
we know they're going to do it. We know they're going to drink. It's what are you going to do after that?
Right.
You don't have to get in a car.
No.
If you're going to choose to put the substance in your body, whether it's marijuana or alcohol or whatever substance that is, you're doing it for a reason. You're doing it because you want the feeling that substance is going to give you. Then, you might as well have a great time.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that says, I'm going to go get drunk this weekend. I hope I'm miserable the whole time.
Right.
I don't know anybody that says that.
And you said that. You did say that to the kids. You said, hey,
So-
why do you drink and get high? To have a good time, right?
So go make memories,
Yeah.
have a great time. I'm not advocating
No,
underage drinking.
absolutely not.
At all. But if you're going to do it, you might as well, have some great stories to tell in the future.
Right.
But be safe. You don't have to get in a car.
Yeah.
If you're going to make that choice, you need to make it for yourself and not for your neighbors and not for the other
Absolutely.
people on the road.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And that's what you've, is it the name of your program or it's just the
Your
branding?
choices do matter.
Yeah, your
is,
choices do matter.
the name of my website and
Yeah.
my program. Yeah.
Yep.
Yourchoicesdomatter.com is my website.
And so you go-
Instagram, Facebook page. That
Oh,
you can
right,
find
right.
me on.
We need to get like a slide we can put up of that, Marcus. If you're, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I can send you
We'll
one.
Yes, perfect. Yes, perfect.
I'm not sure I can make it happen just right this second.
Oh, hey.
Well,
look at
not
that.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
it.
But yeah, so so yesterday, like at the mock crash, you came and watched that, and you do this, like you go all over the country and talk to kids, middle schoolers, high schoolers about this.
Yes.
And so how many mock crashes have you been to? And do you notice a difference in students' reactions, or do they all kind of have the same reaction?
I've been to several. A lot of them are similar. I mean, there's little differences here and there. I think one of the biggest similarities across the board is when you get kids from, the school that the mock car crash is occurring. It's a little, it's a little funny. It's a little, there's giggles in the audience because you've got, those are your friends up there and they're, they're horrible actors and
Right.
and even the actors are up there giggling because they're not used to doing this and so that part of it is kind of cool. There's a disconnect because
Yeah.
it's hard to understand something so traumatic unless you experience it. But the goal of these programs is to make sure these kids never experience it.
Yeah.
The part that then comes in is way more sobering is that you have the police officers, you have the coroners, you know, the funeral director, and you see the jaws of life being used.
Yeah.
This was the first time I actually saw the jaws of life being used in a mock car crash. That was really cool.
Yeah.
You see a teenager, your classmate, being put in a body bag and hauled off. You see the sobriety test taking place.
Yeah.
And that's all really sobering, and that kind of calms the audience down, and I think it was really well done. I think that it was a good program, and I think that it had a good impact. And one of the things I think worked really well for the program here is that you guys have a great coalition with great equipment and a great person in Marcus
you.
that has
Yeah.
great microphones.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that helped
Aw,
because
shucks.
when you have
Yeah.
a big audience, they need to
Yeah.
be able to hear what's going on. And in a lot of mock car crashes that I've witnessed or been a part
They
of,
just don't
you
hear it.
can't hear what the kids are saying. And
Yeah.
you've got all this dialogue happening. You want to make an impact. Well, it doesn't happen if they can't hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yesterday was really good, and I wish we could do it at Oklahoma Union. Hopefully we'll be able to do that next year or something. But I do want to give a shout out to Nowata Police Department, Nowata Sheriff's Office, the Nowata County Courthouse,
Yes.
OHP, our first responders, our Nowata Fire, our EMS. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget somebody.
I was
I mean,
thinking in my head, what are we gonna miss? I think you got them all.
yes, I
think
hope
you
I
got
did
them.
because
Stump
these
Funeral Home?
people, Stump Funeral Home. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Marcus.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
What's so awesome is, and then Leah was there too. So we had the perspective, we had the whole thing, and what we try to do with these kids is to get them to understand these are people in your community who care about you. They are doing this job because they care about you. They're keeping you safe, and they will take time out of their day to come do a mock crash to try to make an impact on your life. And they don't want to see you in this situation. They don't want to see anybody in this situation, but especially the kids in their community that they know and they've watched grow up. And, so it was a big deal to have everybody there yesterday, and even a few of them came back for the assembly to watch you speak, to listen to you speak.
Which was so humbling and amazing. I mean, the police chief came, and I was so honored by that. And some of these officers did this mock crash, on their day off. And that was so amazing for these kids.
Officer Clark with OHP, he came in on his day off, and I was going to mic him up, and he's like, oh, I really don't want to be mic'd up. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to push it because it's your day off, and you came to do this.
Thankful.
So but it was still great. He was great. We had, it was a really good day, and the rain held off.
Yes.
So,
That was awesome.
So I guess to wrap up, do you just, what do you want? Because we're going to Oklahoma Union today.
Yes.
You are sharing your story with Oklahoma Union Middle School and High School, I believe. And what are just some of the things, some of the takeaways for our kids, our community, that you want people to know?
The cost is never worth it. The cost of driving impaired. There are so many other options, especially for kids, teenagers. Have a safe person, have another alternative that's available to you, and use it. It is never worth it. The financial cost, the emotional cost, the physical cost for you or another person. Like I said, these are your choices, and they do matter. Your choices across the board. I am not against alcohol. I'm not a big drinker, but I'm 40 years old, and if I want to drink a cold beer on a hot summer day, I can do that without any repercussions. If you're 16 and you want to drink a beer, you're facing all sorts of repercussions if you get caught. But that's, again, a choice you need to make. You don't need to put my life at risk because you want to go have a cold beer. So make those choices and be safe about them.
Awesome.
Hey, can I chime in a little bit?
Sure, yes.
So I was thinking yesterday, whenever, Leah, you were taking questions from the audience, and you never know what you're going to get from
that
these
is
kids.
true.
And is it going to be on topic? Is it just amusement that their mind was wandering off and they just want to know about something random? But I was thinking, and it was it was about perfect timing, but you had pulled out the cards and talked about the getaway cards. But my question was going to be, because I think some kids, they just need more time to process. We talked on the way in here, Leah, whenever I picked you up this morning, we talked about depression. And I've worked with a lot of people over the years. I went to school for my psychology degree. I understand depression on an intellectual level. And until you actually experience it, I mean, I worked with a lot of kids and families that would talk about depression. It feels this way. It looks this way. It does this to me. It has this effect. But until you actually go through depression, do you truly understand it? And I didn't until I started battling with it a little bit over the last couple of years. And it just adds a whole nother perspective. And I'm trying to think of I put myself in those kids' shoes yesterday listening to you, trying to think of some wise question to ask. Because I think once they had time to process what they ingested, some of the graphic explanation of what you went through was hard to hear. And for somebody with a squeamish stomach, I mean, I seen a couple kids up in the stands, start bobbing their knee and starting clenching their fingers and stuff. And so my question was, if we're a teenager and we have to learn some things the hard way, hey, take out the trash. Why do I need to take out the trash? Why do I need to learn about insurance on my car? These are things that they're going to make little mistakes on a regular basis, but something as, like you were saying, they've seen their parents go to dinner and have a couple drinks and drive home with the kids in the car. And 99.9% of the time they make it home. But for a kid to learn a hard lesson without actually going through the experience, they can hear it all the time. You brought up multiple different examples of I'm trying to remember. Remind me, what were the 2 or 3 examples? The stop, drop, and roll. You know, we understand that on an intellectual
Stranger
level.
danger, stop, drop,
Stranger
and
danger.
roll.
We know what these are. We know how to respond in those situations because it's been baked into us. But as far as going, I've never seen a whole lot of repercussions of some light drinking on a Friday evening at a family restaurant. But for me, those mock crashes, some people, there's some controversy that comes around it. Some people are not fans of those, and I understand it. I'm not a gory person.
Yep.
It's reactionary for me. But again, what else can we do to help connect in those kids' brains sitting there if they're listening intellectually? Yes, I know we're not supposed to drive drunk.
Yeah.
What is the next thing? Well, when we learn is if we can use as many of our senses to ingest information, we make more connections, and I just hope that those kids seeing the crash go, okay, I hear why we're not supposed to drive now, or not supposed to drink and drive, but now I see why we're not supposed to drink and drive.
Yeah.
And I hear why we're not supposed to drink and drive. Not just listening to somebody talk, but I can hear the trauma of the ambulance and of course they have electric jaws of life, but used to those be really loud. And just the traumatic experience of all of that, the crying, the screaming, the yelling. Hopefully those are things connect. And my question again, sorry I'm rambling too much, but was what else could we do to put into practice for these kids that they're not going to roll their eyes and go, okay, that's dumb, I'm not going to set and blah, 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 blah. But then you brought out the cards. And that's something that...
Oh, the getaway driver cards.
Yeah, they don't have to sit down and have a meeting every night. Okay, guys, we're going to go get a 30-pack. You're going to drink this much. I'm going to drink this much. And you're going to drive, and here are the keys. And you're not going to go through... That's not practical. But that card... Talk more about the card, because that's practical.
Thank you for bringing that up. I can't even remember where I first saw the example, but I took this example, I changed it, I made it my own, and they're called getaway driver cards. And on the front, it basically says, are you in trouble? Do you need help? Are you in a place where you don't feel comfortable? Do you need a ride? And then on the bottom it says, you can always call me, in big, bold, capital letters. And on the back, it says, a message from your getaway driver, and it just has a bunch of blank lines. And the point of these are to give this to your safe person, that person where you can always call if you are, say you're at a party and you're drunk and you know that you can't drive home, you know that your friends are drunk and you should not get in a car with them. And let's say, I'm a teenager and you're my safe person, you're my mom, and I know that I can call you. The point of these cards is that I would take my getaway driver card and I would give it to you, and you would write on those lines why my life matters to you. And then you give the card back to me and I keep it with me. I put it in my wallet or my phone case or something that I always have on me. So, write your phone number on it. So if I'm drunk and I can't remember, or I don't, have my phone on me, which wouldn't be good if it's in my phone case, but, anyway, I digress, that I can pull that out, and that I, can read those 1 or 2 sentences and remember why my life is important, why my life matters, more than anything to someone, even one person in this whole world, that it matters why I survived this night. So whether it's an alcohol drinking and driving, or a date rape situation, or any sort of scary, uncomfortable, you need help situation, that you have a safe person. And part of what Marcus was saying as well is that unfortunately people don't learn hard lessons until they do experience trauma a lot of the time. And I was talking to Officer Clark yesterday, and he was saying that unfortunately, some of these kids or kids their age, kids in general are still going to die, from drunk driving crashes. And they are. I am not going to stop everybody and every teenager from drinking and driving. I know that. But if I can can make that number 2 kids instead of 5 kids, then I've done a pretty awesome thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's what I was going to say. So yesterday, you gave the kids your story, your very detailed story about growing up, and you were a good student, and you had, you'd graduated, you had your associates, you were in college, you did all the right things, and your life was going the way you planned on it going. Like, it was going the way you thought it was going to go, and then because of somebody's choice, that changed in a split second.
Exactly.
It changed.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, going through that grief and that depression and everything, losing something you thought was your life, and now it's this. If there's any kind of silver lining, it's that this is maybe what you were meant to do, was to come out and bring awareness to this. And to me and to all of our Know What I Can staff, you are where you need to be. I mean, you are spreading this message, and you're letting these students know that you care about them. And
I do.
I think one of the unfortunate things is we can see the data that shows how many kids we've lost, but there's no possible way to see the data of the kids we saved.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
that is exactly it.
So the validation is just always just without, it's just right at the fingertips.
Yeah.
But if there was some way to, be able to say, well, look what, if this didn't happen, if we didn't hear this day, had some kind of magical future, seeing something or other and go, oh my gosh, these kids, did you realize we've saved 52 kids over the last year?
Amazing. Yeah.
There's no way we can do that,
Nope.
but maybe that would be amazing. But it's just unfortunate that we just got to know that we're doing the best we can with the information and the data and the stories and the relationships that we have. That's why I love the cards, because that's where the rubber hits the road with me. They can intellectually ingest it all day long, but until they do anything about it, their odds are going to stay the same if the behavior doesn't change. And it's all about changing behavior. And it's hard enough to get, junior high school kid to remember to, brush their teeth or take out the trash without being told,
It's true.
let alone being impaired as a 16-year-old, having the time of their life, trying something new, and then, now I'm tired, I'm not feeling very good, I just want to go home, however I can get home, I just want to get home to my bed, I just want to get home, I don't care, I'll hop in with so-and-so, I'm not thinking that through, so unfortunately we don't have, but we have to know that this work is changing lives and saving lives.
Yep. You're making an impact. We know you're making an impact.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
So, okay. Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I love being here.
We were so excited when we knew you were coming in Tuesday, and we'll be sad to see you leave on Friday, but
I'll come back.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll probably bring you back.
All right.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well,
Any last last words of wisdom or things that we need to remember, or is there an event coming up that, is there anything else other than you're going to Oklahoma Union tomorrow? But by the time people see this, that may not be relevant.
No, I'm so excited to just be here this week and do what I'm doing. And no, my immediate plans are to go home and sleep for 3 days after this
You're
week.
Gonna
So
need the rest. So
after that, no, usually I have summers off since I talk at schools mostly. I speak with DUI offenders and driver's ed students back home. So just a few jobs through the summer. But
awesome.
we go camping and fishing.
Yeah,
and
get
we
some
do all the
time
fun
off
stuff
from-
in the summer.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
gonna enjoy my summer and be back at it again in the fall. And
Leah, is there any social media or website or anything you
yeah,
need to plug?
so Your Choices Do Matter on both Facebook, Instagram, and yourchoicesdomatter.com website. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay.
And I
Great.
will say one last thing to plug. We did film this year's Every 15 Minutes.
Yes.
It's in editing right now, and it should be out on the Know What I Can Facebook page through YouTube. And I just realized last year's 2022 was on my personal YouTube page, but it is shared
Leah
to,
discovered that.
Yeah.
She
It
was
is-
looking
yeah.
for
I
last
was
year's.
hunting for it,
Yeah.
and
I was like, oh yeah, it's on the Know What I Can YouTube page, and no, it's not.
But it is on the Facebook
Yeah.
page somewhere if
Yeah.
you really want to
Yeah.
find it. But anyways,
Cool.
if you're interested in more of the same thing that we're talking about and you're passionate about it, then those are some places to learn more about what Leah does and what we do here at Know What I Can.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thanks,
for
guys.
joining us.